Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll continue responding to the questions because I hadn't addressed all of them. There was a question that asked to whom the letter was addressed to. The response to that is the letter was addressed to our PS, who's the PS State Department for ICT and Digital Economy, requesting the ICT Authority CEO to nominate officers. Then there was a follow-up question regarding whether the report required consensus. Our response is no, because it is based on evidence that we have collected within the environment that we were working on. There was a follow-up question whether the system is valid. Yeah, I think if the system is valid and up to date, and the answer is yes. The system based on the scope and our surroundings that we were working on, yes, the evidentiary collected within the system are valid. There's a question that has been posed by Senator Mtata asking about the response to question, I think you mentioned 3. Was it possible for any MCA or any other person who had a link to vote on the motion on behalf of an MCA or another MCA? I have indicated here that the answer is no. You cannot vote for any other person, and I have qualified it. You can only vote if you have all the 3 parameters, which is the link, which was provided for by the county assembly, and then your unique username, which is the IPPD, and of course a password, which is obviously meant to be private and privileged information. To respond to the other question that has lastly been asked, it is what value is the report? I think based on the matters at hand, your Honorable Speaker, this report is meant to guide us. We are responding to the questions that were posed to the ICT Authority in responding to the allegations of whether the system is a secure voting platform or not. And based on the evidence that we have provided before this House, in my field, we base our conclusion on evidence. And that is what we have provided based on the logs, based in the presence of both parties, and we have provided this to this House. We have clarified issues to do with IP addresses. IP is a unique...
Witness.
Yes, Your Honor.
Just be very specific. Respond to the question by Crystal Asigi so that we end it there.
Yeah, so the question asked by Honorable Senator is, are we able to ascertain with certainty MAC addresses? I'll still echo my earlier sentiments that MAC addresses are unique to devices, and MAC addresses are mapped to IP addresses. You need to have an IP addresses for you to access an external facing application. And based on the configuration of the system, within the logs configuration, the logs have provided an IP address which corresponds to a unique MAC address. However, within the logs within that voting system, MAC addresses are not configured as audit details to be collected.
So you are not able to geographically place them?
You can, using your IP, and ideally this is where the confusion between an IP and a MAC address comes in. A MAC address does not give you an IP location, but an IP address gives you an IP location. And that is why we have used the IP addresses to confirm that these IP addresses were within the geographical location of the county assembly, because these are base station IPs.
Order. Let the witness respond, Senator Hezena and Senator Crystal Asige. Just conclude, witness.
Your Honor, as I was saying, IP addresses gives you geolocation. However, MAC addresses don't give you geolocation. And based on the architecture of some of the systems we have, we only collect the outward-facing IP address. This basically means that that system is exposed to users outside. So you don't expose your internal IPs, but you expose your outside IPs. And the IPs that we have identified here are ISPs that belong to local ISP providers, as we have indicated, Safaricom, Airtel, and any other ISP within that geolocation, Your Honor.
Okay. So assuming the senators vote the way KERICHO did, and they're all seated inside the chamber here,
so
they will still have different IP addresses. If
you
they're
are
all seated here, voting the KERICHO way, will they still have, they will have different IP addresses?
So depending on if your system that you are using is a web-based system that has to be accessed online, and the way the network has been, there is a principle called network address translation. You assign a system an internal IP. Then you assign your gateway. The gateway, for example, is this door. You configure the system such that you say any requests that are coming outside have to pass through this door and go to port so and so. So that basically means when you are coming in, you will have this door as the log. It indicates that you've actually accessed this system. Then you'll go and sit at a certain place. So that is basically assigning an IP and a service to a system. So we will all have the same IP if it is an external facing application that has to resolve using an external facing IP address, Your Honor.
Have a seat, Mr. Witness.
Oh.
Now, honorable senators, we, having heard the expert, we will now proceed to the closing statements. We will start with the county assembly. You have 60 minutes to do so. You may utilize